What up? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how it is so hard to finish a project, so hard to finish an album. And when I say finish an album, I'm not talking about finishing an album. I'm not talking about finishing an album in the digital space. I'm not talking about something to load up online. That's cool, you know what I'm saying? But that's not difficult. You come up with some album art and then voila, you put the metadata in and you release it. But when you have to actually show appreciation for everybody that helps you with the album, you might have to do a booklet with lyrics. You might have to come up with real album art because there's multiple panels on the actual physical copy, whether it be vinyl or CD. We talking the higher echelon of artists that really care about their art, artists that really want to be represented 10, 15, 20 years from now. They want somebody to pull up their music and they can actually listen to what that person presented years, decades before that, and they can actually hear their art. And they can see their art too, because the visuals of the art matters just as much as the music. The music gives you even more anxiety when the physical starts to become a reality. When you start to see the album art and you start to see the different things that are going to be with the album and everything, and how the CD is going to be laid out and everything, you start to get a little bit of anxiety about the mix, the master. You start to get a little bit of anxiety if that snare is loud enough. You start to get all these different feelings and different emotions that it's very difficult to finish. Very difficult. And this is not for the people who just want to release stuff on YouTube, and this is not to take a shot at anybody. This is not a video to be like, yo, I'm taking a shot at, you know what I'm saying, like all the people who only release digitally. Nah, this is just a learning lesson for anybody. Even if you're trying to finish it digitally, it's still hard. But it's even 10 times more harder when you're trying to release it as a CD, as a physical, because you're thinking about actually handing this to somebody and expecting them to actually like this art and actually receive it as art. Actually see the cover, the front cover, and actually look at it and say, do I really feel like listening to this besides the other things that I can listen to when I get to the crib, or even when I get in the car? I know most people don't have CD players in the car nowadays, but at the same time, whenever they get at home and they crack it open and they might have a link to the digital copy, whatever. However they hear it, when they finally hear it, will it match the expectations? You know what I'm saying? Will the artwork be good enough to draw them in to listen to the music? Does the artwork match the feeling of the music? It's a lot of stuff. We have to think about, you know what I'm saying, everything when we're creating the album. Like in the physical realm, you got to think about the music. You got to think about the quality of the music beyond just, like I say, you just releasing it digitally. Because if you're doing it just for SoundCloud, something that you can take down and put back up, that really don't even count. If you're releasing it for YouTube, something that you can take down and put back up, that really don't count. If you're releasing it for Spotify, that's still cool, but you still not trying to have the quality level at an all-time high, because you're not spending a lot of money on trying to place it on SoundCloud. Probably cost you $20 at the most to place a whole album on SoundCloud, let alone you can place a single on there. And DistroKid is like $20 a year. It might have went up a little bit now, but yeah, it's cheap. You know what I'm saying, to release digitally. Not like you putting up $500-$600 for the first batch of CDs and you only getting 100 copies. And it's the first batch. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different when you're talking about physical. Like when you're talking about vinyl, you're talking about, if you want to do it the right way, you want to have color, you want to have the booklet insert, you want to have a double fold, you want to have all this stuff. If you want to do it the right way, I ain't talking about just the white jacket with the black disc in it with just, you know what I'm saying, the sticker on the front with just the basic text writing like a promo single. I ain't talking about like that. That's an easy vinyl. That vinyl, you probably get that printed up for less than $1,000. I'm talking about the people who want to really have an album cover, have album art, have extra booklets and everything inside. You maybe have it fold out, having art on the inside of the vinyl, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have the back part of the vinyl. And I know that all this stuff sound you know, elementary, or it sounds simple, but the experience of it, you can't replace that with the digital, and that's the difference. So it takes 10 times more work to make these decisions, because these decisions are final. You can't pull this back down like you're putting something up on the internet, because even if you put it up on Spotify, you still could take it back down. When you hand somebody something, that's almost a permanent, that's almost a first impression. That's almost a permanent impression, because if they take it home and it ain't dope and your picture on the front of it, the next time you try to release something or come out with something, they ain't gonna have that faith in you. So you better do your job the first time. So it's a way more expectation. Digitally, it's passive. They might listen to you, they might hear you on Instagram because you're playing your stuff, because you want people to hear you playing stuff on YouTube. That's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We all have to do that. I still do that too. What I'm saying is, it's fucking hard to finish this shit when you doing this shit in the physical, because expectations of everything is it's so high. Like, you thinking about you got to think about the thank you portion of the album. You got to think about the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? If you want to have lyrics printed in the book, and if they're, you know what I'm saying, they're going to be read in a way that's going to follow along with the song. You got to worry about space when you're doing that on that real estate, because if you're laying out the different lines of the song, now you can double stack different lines, or you can stack them just on top of each other, line by line, word by word, like a lot of people used to do back in the day. But that's more real estate on paper. That's more expensive print, because you're talking about more panels now. Talking about more pages in the booklet. A 6-page booklet can change the price from $4 a CD to $5 to $6 a CD if you're going up to 8 to 12, you know what I'm saying, panels, you know what I'm saying, or 8 to 12 pages in a booklet. So you got to think about that. A lot of people don't think about stuff like that, but you want your fans to have something to physically have a piece of you. You know what I'm saying? A piece of your art. They get to take something physically with them, and they get to look at that later and still remember you later. If you're trying to do it that way, you're gonna spend a little coin. So all I'm saying is that it's 10 times more harder to finish, because all of these anxieties are mixed in together. You know what I'm saying? I'm still thinking about, like, I'm finishing up my album right now. I'm still thinking about how I'm gonna do this booklet. I got a booklet to do. I got an idea for it. But at the same time, if I think about it, it's almost like it's, how can I say it? It's a lot to think about. At the same time, trying to finish things up sonically, because I still have a chance to go back in sessions and touch up stuff when I hear stuff. If this snare ain't loud enough, then this snare need to be loud enough, because it's gonna be final whenever I print the first batch. Especially if you print a lot of the first batch. The more of the first batch you print, the more pressure that's gonna be on you, because the more money you're gonna be spending, and the more the amount of merch or CDs or vinyl you're gonna be either handing out for free to people to get people to listen to, or you're gonna be selling for a certain amount. And the thing about it is how much hard work it takes to do this. You guys need to realize and appreciate people when they set a certain value on their album. If somebody say they charging $100 for their album, then hopefully their album is worth $100, but you gotta respect that, because it's art. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like somebody selling a painting to you for $1,500. Or selling a painting to you for $3,000, and it look really dope, but you like, damn, I don't think it's worth $3,000. Guess what? Somebody else is gonna fulfill that price tag and take your spot. You know what I'm saying? And then that thing is gonna become scarce because it's only, especially if it's just art, it's only one of those. But your prints of your actual art, because you're artist in music, your prints of your actual art, your actual music. The thing about it is, if somebody else don't feel that order, they're gonna feel bad later on. If you're really good and you're really dope, and it's really sought after, and you really hit it. If you print at a low volume, people are gonna be sorting. They're gonna be sorting through a batch of CDs or a batch of vinyls to find you. And when they find you, you're gonna be worth a lot of money. The value of your music will be worth more. We're experiencing that now from the artists in the 90s that got their stuff printed but didn't get a large amount as it was when you had to rely on vinyl. They printed out hundreds of thousands of versions of vinyls in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. And then when they got to the 90s, they kind of slowed down because what? We got CDs. So that leaves me with just saying, you know what I'm saying, my last part is just the anxiety is exciting, but it's not easy when you do it in the physical versus when you do it in the digital. And there's nothing wrong with just doing it in the digital, but when you do it in the physical, this shit ain't easy. So I want y'all to beware. You know, I think a lot of y'all need to take that jump and that leap and do it because it'll push you to be great. It'll push you to be the greatest version of yourself by actually going out and trying to finish an album, finish a product, have it printed. You know what I'm saying? Doing all the text, doing the booklet, making decisions on photos, making decisions on edits of photos, making decisions on everything, little bitty stuff like moving text up, down, you know what I'm saying, over, making it bigger. If this ain't bigger, let's stand back and look at this. If we put this on a poster, would it be big enough to see what's going on over here? It's a lot. So you got to think about it all at once. But it's a beautiful thing. It's exciting. It's scary. And at the same time, the shit is dope because it makes you feel like you're somebody and it makes you feel like you have a purpose. Trust me. But, hey, y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all might have a better streamlined solution to making the physical album. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below. I'm out.